Hey, welcome back everyone. This is Abel Pagaling, and now we have the Real Talk segment, and I have my good friend Tim here. Tim, thank you for joining me. This is Real Talk, so Tim, you know what? I'm not even gonna try to pronounce your name, but you know what? I'll try it. It's Tim Todorov. Did I say that right?
Absolutely right.
That's right. He is from Bulgaria, and today we're gonna talk about. This is gonna be a real talk. You know, we're gonna talk about the immigration experience from different cultures, and we're gonna start out with my good friend Tim here, and he is from Bulgaria. Tim, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Abel. Thanks for having me.
And first of all, I love your car, BMW.
Thank you.
It's a red. Tell me a little bit about your car here.
How much time do we have?
Yeah. I know it's the first thing I noticed you coming in, and we've talked about it quite a great length.
Yes.
But it's a great car, isn't it?
Appreciate it. Absolutely, I do. It's actually a achievement that I have just accomplished from my life in Canada, right? The biggest thing is this: we all come here, we all grind, and we all work, and we follow dreams. But when you get something like this and you achieve your goals and dreams, it's when it's real, when it becomes real. And this is all about the real talk, right?
It's about the sacrifice, right?
It didn't come easy.
We jumped into that right away, and not only that, you've also just recently moved into a very big house in Mahogany, which is one of Calgary's premier communities. Tell us about that experience.
That was my wife's dream, actually. It's amazing how Canada has allowed us to accomplish both of our dreams. One of our biggest dreams.
Real talk right there, man. Canada is a great land.
Absolutely, I can't agree more. Coming from a place where it's not about what you bring to the table, it's about who your uncle is or who your cousin is, and I'm talking about Bulgaria, to a place where it's all about who you are and what kind of character you bring to the table and attitude. That has allowed me to, and my wife, to accomplish our dreams. People recognizing our skills and our good characteristics of our what we bring to the table overall is what allowed us to get here. That house in Mahogany is a prime example. It's our second house in Mahogany, and I love that community just because it reminds me so much of back home, how you can let the kids go out and play on the street and not worry about it. All the neighbors are friendly. Everybody has at least 2 kids and up, especially in the cul-de-sac that we live in.
And it's by the lake.
Right by the lake.
Fishing all
Absolutely.
day if you want.
You can do fishing. You can do beach volleyball in the summer. You can swim. You can. Mahogany as a lake. That's what I won 3 years in a row. The best neighborhood in Canada. I can't say enough about Mahogany, but what I can say is Canada and what we have accomplished here has allowed us to actually live our dreams like that. Real talk.
But it wasn't like that.
No, it wasn't.
When you started.
No.
Right. So let's do some real talk
close.
here.
All right.
It wasn't always easy.
Not even close.
Especially coming from a country like Bulgaria, where the culture, I would say the the values are very different.
Absolutely.
Walk us through, man. How did it happen for you? First of all, transitioning from because Bulgaria, if I remember correctly, that's in excuse me, that's in the Eastern European country.
Correct.
And
Europe, yeah.
it's not I guess the Western Europe where the values would somewhat align more with the Canadian values. It was completely different. On the other side of the Iron Curtain. You probably, and I'm just guessing here, you probably had dictatorship, communist dictatorship,
1989, yes.
1989.
Yeah.
But then you decided to move forward. So walk us through that story.
I would love to. So, as I said, up to 1989, Bulgaria was part of the Soviet Union, and with that it comes the communist nature of
right.
the whole
restrictive,
very restrictive. No capitalism whatsoever. No small to medium business. It's all big companies, and they're all have spread out the sectors, and there is no competition whatsoever. it was a straight up. We tell you what it happens. You would wait for 6 to 9 months in line to get a car. Even if you had the money, you would actually have to get up in the morning, go get your line, wait, and then for 6 to 9 months every single day to get a car. And we were fortunate enough to have a car back then, but I'm coming from that kind of mentality and that kind of history, right? So 1989, the Iron Curtain falls down, and since then we turned to the West. We try to implement a lot from the West. A lot of people that realized it soon enough, they turned to democracy, they turned to capitalism, they turned to building small businesses, and my father was one of them. He built his company for soda pop, like Coke and Fanta and all those things.
Amazing.
It was great. He was one of the first in my city, and he has allowed us to live a very decent life out there. I was the first one on the block with a computer.
Wow.
that was such a thing. I remember how everybody from the whole neighborhood, all the kids, would come over to our house. Excuse me, and we would play games, and it would be the Pac-Man and all that stuff. Like
I remember that
those,
game.
old school games.
Spent a lot of time on that
hours,
game. Yeah.
Hours during the night, I tell you. And I would remember buying prepaid cards for internet and great times, but at the same time, very limiting times, right? So as soon as I hit high school, I figured that there's gotta be something more out there. But it wasn't until I was second year in university when I had the opportunity to travel abroad, go to US for a student exchange visa. I spent 4 months there and quickly realized that it's all about what I bring to the table, because for the first 2 months I was working in this amusement park that was like terrible job, like 15 to 18 hours. You get paid below minimum hourly wage, and the supervisor for some reason didn't like me. He didn't like that I was working so many hours. He didn't like that I was progressing within that close community, so he almost got me fired. So as soon as he gave me that final written notice, I was like, this is ridiculous. Like I'm pushing myself so much here. I'm working so hard, 6 to 7 days a week, and at the end of the day, it's up to these guys' discretion to keep me or not.
That's right.
I didn't feel good. That's when for the first time in my life I took charge of my life. I was like, you know what? You're not gonna fire me. I quit. I didn't have another job, but within 2 weeks I found another job. I bought myself a car. I found myself an apartment because they kicked me out of the dorms as well. So within 2 weeks I found a construction job that actually allowed me to afford all those things. I was working 7 days, but I was doing overtime. I was progressing within those 2-3 weeks. So quickly I became one of the guys that they would call every single day, and I would be the first one to come and the last one to leave. And with this, I was able to surpass all the people that were working in the amusement park and some. At the end of the 4 months, I could afford a couple of bags of clothes that I took back to my home. And yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
we took back home. Absolutely. Well, I had to come back home, right? So I filled up those 2 suitcases with clothes for my whole family, my brothers, my sisters. I came back with a decent amount of cash as well, and the next year I came back and
they must have been so proud.
They were. I gotta say. But fast forward over here, I figured that the American lifestyle is allowing a person to be who they want to be.
That's right.
And democracy, capitalism, all those things are the ones that are allowing us to expand our potential and to become the best of ourselves. So as an immigrant, a newcomer, 5 years ago, I came with 2 suitcases with my wife. We didn't have a job. We didn't have anything lined up.
And that was here in Calgary.
Correct.
That's
yes,
right.
Calgary. Straight up to Calgary, June 9th is when we arrived. 2013.
2013, that's right.
Yes, so that was when the big flooding came in.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you, we were looking for a basement or whatever to sleep in. And we're like, okay, we were picky. And as soon as I heard about the flooding, I was like, we better get something really fast because we're gonna live on the street.
Gonna end up, yeah, that's right.
We got that basement. It was a great guy. We were there for a year, but we figured that we just gave away so much money to that guy. And I was like, why don't we just buy a house? we quickly built our own house in Mahogany. Within a year, we moved into there. We thought we were going to be there for many years, but with the development and me not giving up, and my wife being relentless as well, we were able to afford a second house. And with all the 3 kids that we have now, that first house was a small one too.
And all your kids were born here in Calgary.
Absolutely.
So they're Canadian citizens.
Canadian citizens.
That's
100%.
Awesome.
They have an advantage that I never had. So we'll see what they do with it.
So you're the very first guy I know who is from Bulgaria.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not a lot of us here. Yeah.
Talk us a little bit about the Bulgarian culture, for our viewers who don't understand what some of the other cultures are. What are some of the qualities of the Bulgarian culture from what I hear from you? Very hardworking, very determined people.
Correct.
And a very forward-thinking people. Tell us a little bit about the community.
Absolutely. So Bulgarians as a nation, that is a very, very a decent thing to say for us. We're hardworking. We would always work, coming from a family of hard workers, we would always try to do our best in terms of putting our time into the work. In terms of entrepreneurship, it's not very common over there. So back from the communist country, from the communist times,
It's restricted.
it's restricted,
Right.
and they restrict your thinking as well, right? So when you go to work, you feel blessed that you go to work at 8 o'clock and you finish at 5 o'clock and you have a job to come back again. It's not about how good you do the job. It's about if someone likes you and you can stay in the job. So we would keep our heads down and we would grind and we would never pick our heads up and be like, hey, let's talk about promotion. That would never be a question for my family or the grandparents and all that stuff. They would work one job for 30, 40 years.
But your family, especially your dad, have shown that when the opportunity
It was
comes,
the first. Yes, absolutely.
you gotta get it, right? So
Yes.
even though you guys were in that system, you still exercise your ability to make a decision to make it better for yourselves.
Correct. He was the first one actually to start from the whole family.
Gotta be
A
proud
business.
of that, man.
Absolutely, I'm proud. And the biggest thing is this: he gave me that thinking because none of my brother or my sisters have it. It's just me. But I was the one that I was learning from that experience. So he broke that chain of we're working 30, 40 years for one company, and he showed me and my brother and my sister that there is a better way, or there is a different way. So I took that very close. I studied it in my mind without even realizing that. And as soon as I came over here, I implemented it in my work. So not only am I successful in my work, but at the same time, I'm never satisfied with the status quo. So in that case, there's always things to do, and never be satisfied. Like,
That's
just
right.
keep on going. Coming from an entrepreneur family now, I can never stop thinking about developing businesses and ideas in my head and outside of my
progressing
head.
at your work. Right?
Correct.
Because now you're the correct me if I'm wrong, the manager of business development
Correct. Yes.
for one of
yes.
the biggest companies here in North America.
Absolutely.
that is represented. Whenever you go to a building, any building, you probably see the company that he works for. It's called Cintas, one of the most respectable companies in North America, and with thousands of clients across North America, millions
Yes.
of clients, and you've progressed in that big corporation
Absolutely.
through hard work and dedication. And so walk us through that. Like, how does, because not all immigrants, right? Real talk. Not all immigrants are as successful, but what are some of the things that you had to do to get to where you're at now?
I appreciate that question. Well, my Cintas career started as a skipper. So
And a skipper is
a cover-up driver. So you would cover up drivers that are going on vacation or on holidays or sick. And what I would do is I would just go out blind, is what we call it. Like, I don't know where I'm going. I would just read addresses and put it in my GPS and deliver things to buildings that you don't know where they go. Imagine you have 10 mats in this building, like, you don't know where the exits are. You don't have time to familiarize yourself with the floor plans and everything like that. So you go around, you check it and all that stuff. So I quickly was able to progress in that. I proved to be the best keeper at my time, and with that I made myself an obvious choice for a promotion and to get my own route. So as soon as I got my own route, I started winning award after award. I won the award for most catalog sold. That means like most sales on route, most improved route. We have a 105 KPI, which is the maximum. I reached that within my third quarter. So I
That's
quickly.
amazing.
It was unusual back then. It's even now. It took a lot of devotion of my time. While other guys would come back early and they would just finish early and go home, I would stay out there on route, familiarize myself with the people, the customers. I was one of the few people that had almost 100% of customer satisfaction.
Wow.
So when that was happening, my general manager, told me about this job to be a market development rep, and I was like, sure, you know what? He was like, hey, you're doing a great job with the 150 customers that you have. Here's another 2,000. I'm like, okay.
So from 150 customers to 2,000.
Correct.
They must have trusted you.
Yes.
You don't increase 15-fold.
No.
Without some trust in there.
Correct. That's huge. For me to get that job offered, that was a big trust, and I believe that my general manager saw the potential. Not only that, but my sales manager at the time, when I was applying for the job and I was being in the process, there were only 2 positions. But my sales manager convinced the director and GVP of sales that there is something in this kid, and they created a territory for me. It was the first time in the history of Cintas Calgary that the whole part of Cintas was separated in 3.
That's amazing.
Up until that moment, it was 2.
So you brought in change.
I did. Outside thinking, never inside of the box. Always outside of the box.
I love it, Tim. I love it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And so now you've got your route. You've been promoted.
Mm-hmm.
How is that going for you right now?
It's going great. My current manager, Trevor Livingston, is a very interesting guy. He trusts me completely of what I do and how I do it. The only thing that he's asking for is honesty, and when I need his help, to reach out and not be bugged about not reaching out. And he trusts me with my time. He knows that I know what I'm doing, and I have his full support. Not only that, but he's went to bat for me so many times when there were questions of any sort about me. He will be like, no, I know Tim. Like, Tim is up to now, I'm the person that brings the most volume into the location.
That's awesome.
So
that's amazing.
That comes with trust, for sure.
So switching gears a little bit, we talked about business, we talked about your community. Let's hear about the family side.
Yeah.
You have 3 young kids. How old are you?
So they're 4, 2, and 4 months.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, you're
handful. It's a handful.
Boom, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, no time.
That's
no
right.
Time. We gotta develop.
Well, you gotta develop.
We gotta develop.
I
Young
like that.
salesman.
That's right. You gotta create the business. You gotta develop. I
create
love it.
workers, employees, right there.
Yeah, and of course, with that, there's also a lot of responsibility.
Absolutely.
How do you balance that out? I know you're a very driven, very ambitious gentleman, and you work really hard, and you're creating a name for yourself. But you also are a dad, and you're also a husband. How do you balance that out?
It's not an easy job, Abel. You coming from a very similar work hours week.
I always say I have a boss, but I have a real boss.
Correct.
When I come home, right?
That's what we're at
that
right
is
now.
my family.
Correct.
My wife and my kids.
That's correct.
And I've seen that about you as well, where you value your wife and your kids very high.
I do.
And in terms of balancing, so what are some of the things that you do to make sure that as you pursue your career and you continue on this upward trajectory and whatever it is that you do, that you're not missing out on the family life?
Leaving them alone. Well, Abel, you strike a nerve there when you mentioned that you have a boss and you have a boss. But in my case, I'm very fortunate with my wife, Eva. She's been part of Cintas since I was in Cintas. But not only she was able to progress in her career with Cintas, but she was able to raise 3 kids now up to this point, and they're beautiful. They're she is the star of the house. She is the housewife that people dream of, and I'm so very fortunate to have her next to me. She is a big part of how the balance happens, right? It's very hard. You only have so many hours in the night and in the day that you can either spend with the family or with the business. And with her being by my side and covering those hours when I'm not there, it's the only way we can do that. I could not see myself doing that without her. I have a strict schedule. I have time that is separated from my kids, and if by any chance I have to take a meeting or do something in that time, I make another time. Like, it is a must that you have to spend time with the kids. I don't want my kids to grow up and be one of those kids that will say, my father was never around, he was very driven, he was very successful, he built an empire, and he was never at home. And so what are you building that empire for at the end of the day?
That's a good question.
That's what it is. We're building it for our kids. What am I gonna take with me when I die, right? Nothing. But what I'm gonna leave for them, all that, it's that I want them to grow up and be like, hey, my dad respected work. He had a very strong work ethics, but he always had time for home, and he would spend time in the morning, having breakfast. He would work late, or he wouldn't be home in the morning, but he would come for dinner. So at this point, we've done a great job. I hope with the kids, and
and I think you have. I think you've done a tremendous job raising a family, growing yourself, growing your career, and taking your family into a really good place. So 2 more questions before we end this segment, and I think this is going to be just a preliminary interview. I think you're going to come back here a lot more often, because I think you've got so much insight and so much experience that many in the immigrant community, not just in the Bulgarian community, but in the other communities, ethnic communities, can learn from. So one thing, more not of a question, but more of a comment that I want to draw from you is, what would you like to say to your community, to the Bulgarian community, which is also going to be a message to other communities?
The biggest thing for me is coming from where I come from. One thing I've realized and I've changed in my mindset is we are on this world to help people. If coming from Bulgaria, it's kind of hard to realize that, or I'm guessing other, and I've heard the same.
Philippines.
Correct. I've heard the same with different nations. Is you come here, you're trying to be for yourself, and you're not excited about other people's success. That's one thing I've changed since I came to Canada, is be happy for a lot of people's successes. Don't be jealous, don't be envied, don't be negative about it. Be excited, be happy, be positive. Help other people even though they are better. Just help them. Don't try to cripple them.
There's abundance.
There is abundance. That's the one thing you should realize, guys, is there is enough for everyone. Not enough, but more than enough. More than you can carry. For everyone. It's not if I give you, then I'm taking from myself. No, there is enough for you, there is enough for me, there is enough for everyone that wants it and attracts it. And by having this positive mental attitude, you would attract it to yourself. You would start attracting people that are positive. You would start hanging out with more positive people that are more successful. And there is nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be the best in the company or your surroundings or your circles. You can be the underdog, the person that comes out of nowhere and is trying to grow and has those skills that will take you there. So what I would advise right away to the Bulgarian community or any community is be positive, be happy, strive for success, and don't be afraid to ask for help. There is nothing worse than
don't be afraid to ask for help.
Right. Don't feel afraid or not worthy to ask for an advice. Nothing wrong with that. Be like, hey, Abel, I'm trying to get this done. Can I take you for coffee and pick your brain about this? would you please come with me and help me out on this? How can you say no to that? But I don't understand why people have that barrier of asking. Big deal. Ask for help. Nothing wrong with that.
That's awesome. And last question, Tim. What's next for Tim?
What's next for Tim? I'm afraid to even think about it.
I was afraid to ask that question because I know you're very driven and you wanna excel and that's a train that's hard to stop.
Correct.
But here's the thing though. People who are very driven are also the people who will be able to uplift more people out of their situation, I guess their comfort zone, you know, and I see you as that kind of person that will eventually not just hearing from you, not just somebody that will look after for himself but for others as well.
You're absolutely picking that right. Since I changed that mindset, I was never about myself. I was never about me or just my family or just my community or no, it's for everyone. The biggest thing that I've realized is it's not help yourself first and then others will help you. It's the other way around. You help others first and then you will have enough for yourself, more than enough for yourself. I help my drivers, I help my rookie, we call them RIT, reps in training at work. I help other people outside of work find their placement, either instances or out in other one of my customers. I'm big on helping. I'm big on helping other people get to their goal. So when you ask me that question, I would say is this, as I've been up to now, I'm never satisfied with the status quo. So what's gonna be next? Only time will show, but I will never stop.
Sorry.
No worries. No, absolutely, guys. Biggest thing is this: help others, help people, help people on the street. Just driving by someone, you see someone is in help. Don't just pass by. Stop. Give it 5 minutes. Someone is on the side of the road. You're changing a tire or something like that. It's going to take 5 minutes of your day. Like how bad is that? But you're going to feel so satisfied. That satisfaction is priceless. I can never say enough about that. Another thing that I would say is I'm there for the people that want to get an advice, get an opinion of how they can improve. I've been helping some people develop their businesses just by ideas and ways to grow their business. Working as a market development rep, it has allowed me to get skills that I can implement in every area of the businesses. And I think that's valuable enough just to get a third person view or an opinion of how to get better. Priceless.
Thank you, Tim.
You gonna make it?
We're gonna make it. Sorry, got a bit of a cold.
No wonder.
This is a bad
it's a bad timing in the winter, I know.
That's right. But Tim, thank you very much. You know, we learned a lot from you. Great insights. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
That was awesome.